Mark Riebe, one of America's most prolific serial killers. Did this man kill 13 women? Is he one of the most prolific serial killers in US history? And what does his body language give away when he's trying to retract his confessions? So here we're going to be looking at why this
serial killer,
this
knows,
and this
deal with the devil, deal with the devil, deal with the devil.
could give you all the information you need to make a judgment on whether this person is a serial killer or not, on whether this guy is innocent or actually by using his own hands he has killed 13 women. So welcome back to the Believe in Bruce channel. If you're new to here, please take 2 seconds to subscribe below. The channel where we look at body language, where we're interested in the art of lying. Maybe it's how you can lie better, but also to make sure that nobody can lie to you. Anything to do with the head and heart. If you're interested, take 2 seconds to subscribe below. And remember to leave your comments and also give the channel a like. I receive a lot of requests about, Bruce, can you look at these serial killer interviews? And again, if I get 5,000 likes on this video, I will do some more on this thread. So remember, subscribe, like, share. We're trying to get to that 200,000 subscriber mark. That would be awesome. Again, bit of a special day. It is my daughter's 10th birthday today. So if I can get towards that 200,000 subscribers and beyond, she truly would think I am Superman. So let's give a bit of context here. Piers Morgan Netflix, serial killers.
it would make him one of America's worst serial killers.
Mark Riebe. This is trending at the moment and I've received numerous messages from you, my audience. Bruce, take a look at this. What type of body language or what giveaways, what tells, what observations can we make about this individual, Mark Riebe? About his retraction. And essentially what he's done is that sometime over the past period, however many years, he admitted, he confessed to killing 13 individuals. Fast forward so many years and now he's trying to take it back. So Piers Morgan's not having any of this. He goes and he sits in front of this guy and he starts having this interview and to try and find out the truth, to try and find out what's really gone on. And boy, oh my God, this is like just so insightful from a body language perspective. The way they're sitting, the way they've got the chairs, the questions that Piers is asking, how this guy's responding. This is going to be a video that you really enjoy. So make sure you watch step by step, because if you don't, you might miss the conclusion, might not understand the conclusion when we get to the end point at the end of the video. And that's the context. Remember when we talk about emotional baseline, our brains and hearts react in certain situations. But what we've got here is an interview situation. Piers and Mark. They're facing each other, therefore there is an emotional baseline that will be achieved in this given situation. Now it might be a different emotional baseline if Piers had conducted the interview within Mark's cell, for example, or in the canteen. But nonetheless, in any given situation there will be a development, an opportunity, it presents itself, of an emotional baseline. So what we're looking for is, what does Mark Riebe do all of the time? What is his traits? What does he consistently do throughout the interview? And then we're looking if he does anything more or anything below. Does he do more of something? Does he do less of something? Does he react to something that he's never reacted to previously to that question? That's where we're going to zone in. That's where we're going to focus on. That's where we're going to start digging a little bit deeper, because as you know, biology doesn't lie. Now the first bit of body language that I want to talk about is straight away, as soon as Mark Riebe comes into the interview, he's already trying to take control. He's already trying to manipulate the situation to take the power away from Piers and give it to himself. And he does this by pretending, and I'm going to assume here, I'm going to put something out, I do think he's pretending. And there's evidence to back up why I'm going to say this. You know, Piers hasn't even got his first sentence out yet, and Mark's already given it, what's that? What's that? Now the reason why I am raising this here, it's as if there's an anxiety about him. It's it's the actual first thing that he does as he comes into the room. He's trying to give himself some space. He's trying to take control and say, there's something up with me, so you may need to give me some time. Now the reason why he's doing that, and it's very interesting, is throughout the interview, he hasn't got, he's not hard of hearing, he's got selective hearing. And I've got the evidence, and keep watching, to show you that he's only selective, he's hearing selective only when he gets asked a question that he doesn't like to respond to. And I will prove this via evidence. But you see that this comes in, the first thing he says is, I can't hear, what's that? Yes, it's my 2 ears. Have a look.
How do you do, sir?
Sir,
Piers Morgan. Good to see you.
I'm hard of hearing, you guys realize.
Okay. In both ears or?
Both ears are both hearing.
Okay.
It's as if he's come into that room with that narrative playing, I've got to get this out, I've got to get this out, I've got to control that situation. So this is slightly reversed to what I've done, but you'll see the Special Agent Haley, who's been investigating for 25 years, he says that he will try to take control of you, he will try to manipulate that situation, he will try to take control of that interview. This is what he says.
Mark will try to control you. He'll try to manipulate you and control your interview. I'm hard of hearing, you guys.
So those two things actually match there. Yeah, the interview hasn't even started and he's already trying to take control. Now, how they've structured the seating is very clever. They've actually structured the seating really close together. This can be quite intimidating for anybody, for you, for I, for, especially for Mark Riebe. But if you notice how close they are, the legs are almost touching. And you can see Piers actually feels comfortable with this to some extent. Mark most definitely doesn't. Now, usually with body language, it's the legs that we look for. Everybody looks for the face and the eyes and the hands. But what we see here is Mark's torso. The legs are pointing towards Piers, but he's almost leaning away. He does not want to be there. At that particular moment, he is out of control. He is out of control now for a narcissist, for a sociopath, for all the other labels that Mark Riebe has received. This is quite an interesting position for him to be in. So the legs are facing Piers, but he's leaning away. Now this is where we get a standard response. It's if Mark's practiced this answer. So Piers starts to show him the photographs of the ladies who he has previously, let's remember this, previously confessed to murdering. And as soon as Piers shows him the photo, Piers doesn't even get a chance to say who she is or etc. I say, oh, never seen her before. No, don't know her. And he does this on a number of occasions. Here's the first one.
The first lady is this woman here.
I don't even know who that lady is.
And here's the second one.
She was a 35-year-old woman.
I don't even know who that is.
He does it a bit further on as well. But what he's actually doing here, he's not letting Piers speak. Narrative about the ladies that he's speaking about. He doesn't even want to discuss anything. He's trying to shut that down straight away. It's all about control. I don't want to hear what you say. I don't want to sit here and listen to you. You will listen to me. I am your God. You will therefore bow before me. This is the narrative that's going on here. This is what Mark is. He's trying to dominate Piers by taking that narrative away. I don't even want to let you talk. This is my space. You will bow down to me. It's all about Mark Riebe controlling that situation. And then what we get is a 14-year-old Andrea Durham who's then presented to Mark Riebe. And again, he starts up, no, never seen her. But then Piers, he starts to cut him off. And then you get this eye block. No, I don't know her. Now, when we've got an eye block, that means we're trying to cut off a vision. That vision, therefore, exists. Therefore, it has happened. That's why you get the eye block. I'm actually trying to block out the vision of what I've seen previously. This is what you see here.
This is Andrea Durham. She was...
I don't know who that girl is. I did not confess to that.
You've never met Andrea Durham?
No. No. No.
Now also, this is where we get the old globber sensation, or a variation of the tightening of the throat. Piers brings out the actual trump card, is that both of your stepdaughters knew this individual. And you can see the panic in him. Up till now he's been quite controlled, quite calm for Mark Riebe's baseline emotional response levels. But then what you see here is that when Piers brings this card out about, well, I know your two stepdaughters knew him, this is where you see the panic. And this is where he starts giving an answer to a question he hasn't been asked. And you'll hear the globber sensation about when he tries to say the word, they weren't friends, or I didn't know they're friends. He actually doesn't finish the word correctly. And you'll hear it here, that's the tightening of the throat. He seems a bit jittery, it seems to that panic, that amygdala sensation, that adrenaline dump that's going on now, that is affecting his speech. Listen to this.
Both of your stepchildren knew Andrea, they were friends.
They may have been friends, but I didn't know all my kids' friends. Kids' friends. Kids' friends. Kids' friends.
And remember that globber sensation, I give an example with Prince Andrew. When Prince Andrew talks about the word legal, that again, it talks to the hippocampus talks to the adrenal glands produce that adrenaline, you get that tightening of the throat. Here's Prince Andrew's.
Push came to shove, and the legal,
Again with Mark, it's so subtle, but you definitely hear that's why he can't finish that word. That's why he seems to stutter.
Kids, friends. Kids, friends. Kids, friends. Kids, friends.
It's because the throat muscles tighten. Piers has got him on the back foot here, which is really interesting because he's taking control away from a high control individual. Mark Riebe is not responding well to this. And then again, with it being a high control individual, what he tries to do is he tries to answer a question that hasn't been asked. And in the space of about 5 seconds, 3 times he says, she's never been to my house. She's never been to my house. She's never been around in my house. Piers never said that. What he said was, your stepdaughters know this individual. And what Mark Riebe is trying to do here is a diversion tactic. He's trying to give an answer. He's trying to charm Piers Morgan. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to give an answer. Yes, I'm in tune with you, Piers, answering your question, by actually not answering the question. He's bringing in irrelevant information. Now, the fact that he says 3 times she's never been to my house, I would probably believe him there. She's probably never actually been into the physical premises of his house. But that's why he's saying it. He's clinging on to that like a life raft because Piers has just said your stepdaughters knew her. He's clinging on to something else to try and divert Piers' attention. He's trying to pacify Piers. He's trying to charm Piers. Listen to this.
And she didn't hang around my house. I'll put it this way. They may have knew her. And she didn't come to my house. Never been to my house.
This is where it gets really interesting. Piers has totally taken the control away here by asking balanced and authentic questions. Now, the way Piers has set up the interview, it's like, Mark, I will present what Special Agent Haley has said about you. You can then respond. That's all that he's doing. So he's presenting this information, but he's been direct, he's been authentic, he's been accurate. This is what somebody said about you. But now what we've got here is Mark's amygdala is firing. He's detecting a threat. The self-preservation's coming in. Now, what's really interesting is when let's actually reflect on you. When have you done something wrong? When have you been guilty of something? Because if you've done something wrong or you're guilty, that resides within you, like you know you've done it. If I've ate the kids' chocolate at Easter and my wife asks me or I hear her shouting, who's at the kids' chocolate? Boom, that feeling just, it eats you up inside. But what it does is we become hypersensitive to the possibility that someone will find out our guilt. And this is what's happening here with Mark Riebe. Because when Piers is offering the narrative that he is about Special Agent Haley, all Piers is saying is that this is what this guy said about you, this is what you've confessed to, he's just repeating that. But what Mark hears, because I believe he is guilty, he hears Piers saying that, yes, you are guilty, yes, you've done this, yes, you've done that, I don't believe you. Piers isn't saying anything of the sort. So the words that Piers is offering is almost being blindsided by Mark's own guilt. That's why he starts to lose control here. That's why he starts to get reactive. That's why the amygdala kicks in. That's why you'll see him start saying, cut, I'm not happy with this. Because the high control individual is losing control.
I like to
Keep
drink.
going with Special Agent Haley.
Well, I'm just going to go through what they claim.
No, you're backing his story.
No,
Wait a second.
No.
Stop this right
No,
here.
Mark, let me explain to you.
No. Wait.
Mark.
And the reason why he's losing control is because he's hypersensitive. And the reason why he's hypersensitive, well, quite logically, it's because he has done what Piers is talking about. This is, this is the lady, this is the lady, this is another lady. He has done it, which is why he's hypersensitive. If he wasn't hypersensitive about it, he'd be able to have a conversation, but we're not getting that from Mark Riebe. Remember, biology doesn't lie. I'm just showing you what Mark Riebe is doing here in order to be fair and balanced.
I like to
Keep
drink.
going with Special Agent Haley.
Well, I'm just going to go through what they claim.
No, you're backing his story.
No.
Wait a second.
No.
Stop this right
No,
here.
Mark, let me explain to you.
No. Wait.
Mark.
And again, it's all about Mark losing control. He can't handle it here. The narcissistic side. It reminds me a bit of American Psycho, even with the business cards, where he's looking at he can't handle anybody having anything better than him. It sort of skews him a little bit. This is what's going on here with Mark Riebe. When Piers is asking direct and authentic questions, Mark can't handle it. He's not asking the questions that Mark wants him to ask. The business card that Piers is showing like American Psycho, it's not the business card that Mark wants to see. In this again, we get another example when he says, oh, you keep cutting me off. You're not letting me finish, or you're not listening to me. Now, this is the bloke who doesn't even let Piers get a sentence out before he starts cutting him off.
That you admitted at one
You
stage.
didn't let me finish, go on either. You keep wanting to go back to
I
this.
understand. Let me give you the chance to respond to each of these cases.
There's no responding. I didn't do those cases. But you're not listening.
And we see it here where he says, no, there's no response. He's trying to control that situation. There's nothing else to talk about. You will listen to me, you will accept my version of the story, and that's it. And then he says what he wants to do here. He says what he wants to do. He says, wait, we're going to shut this down. You let me talk, I'll shut it down, and then that's it. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Very, very high controlling individual.
Let's go through because I want to get to the point where I have. I'll tell you how I shut this down. I'll tell you how I shut this down.
A very dangerous man. And then what we get here is, remember I talked about he pretends not to hear. This is just one example that I've come across on the episode where Piers asks a question and he's like, what? What's that, sir? That's generally the phraseology that he uses here. You'll see an example.
But when you look at that picture, what do you feel?
Sir?
You feel?
Sir?
You feel?
Sir?
And then in this little part here, he actually says what he's trying to do. He actually says what he's trying to do here. And Piers correctly says, I just don't get this. Why would any sane person admit to killing a pregnant woman? And you'll hear Mark Riebe say these words around about the fact that, hey, it's happened before, people have admitted crimes they didn't actually commit, and then they've got out of prison. And it's the tail bit where he says the word prison. There's like a stutter. There's almost a glob of sensation, and it's very subtle. I don't even know if it's going to come up in the video. But it's like Piers has rattled him that much. He says what he actually wants to achieve, and hey, I want to retract this so I can get out of prison. And it's if at that particular moment his mind clocks on to the fact that, oh, I might be tripping myself up here. And you'll see that energy, then it dips. But at that particular time, he said, people have done it and they've got out of prison. Have a look.
But nobody, Mark, no innocent person is going to admit to being party to the murder of a pregnant mother.
There's been a lot of people who made mistakes and said they committed crimes they didn't, and got out of prison, and got out of prison, and got out of prison.
Now there's a bit here where we can detect where Mark Riebe goes when he's trying to recollect information, memories from the hippocampus. Hippocampus is the part of the brain where our memory, our emotional memories are stored. And depending on the person, it's not like everybody looks here or everybody looks here, or when you're lying you look that way, when you're telling the truth you look that way, but you will have an emotional baseline. And what we see here is when Piers starts to ask him about, do you like women, do you respect women, etc., he looks to the left hand side. Not all the time, but that's the main area where he goes when he's recollecting memories. Why is this important? Well, he does something in the next little clip that I'm going to show you, where he looks for a recollection, so it has happened, but then he does something else that creates a behavioural cluster. But here's him talking about women. You'll see every now and again his eyes go to the left-hand side, because that's where his hippocampus is telling him to go in order to recollect those memories.
They're my equal. I didn't ever, when I was into a relationship, I didn't want somebody subservient to me. I want somebody who's my partner, who.
All right, and then what we've got here is when he's talking about, do you respect women? You'll see he starts to answer. He looks to the left, so he's recollecting a memory, but then what you get is 3 or 4 eye blocks. Boom, boom, boom.
Do you respect women?
Yes, I believe I do. Yes, I believe I do.
So we know that he's thinking about something, and we know he's thinking about something negative, boom, 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 because the eye blocks are there. Biology doesn't lie. He's recollecting it from the area where we know is truthful, but then you get these eye blocks coming. So when he's thinking about him respecting women, something negative has happened there. He's getting some images. It's not just once, it's not just twice, it's 3 eye blocks that come down. What is he negatively trying to block out of his memory? What does he want to wash away? What does he want to wipe out? Now, a really bit that I'm curious about, and this is, I believe, where he starts to lose control. He's almost giving up the game. He's aware that Piers is taking control for him and putting it within Piers's lap. And he talks about when he rang the father of one of his victims to say that he had took her life, that he had murdered her. And the really interesting bit, he says, well, I think I said that. I think I said that I took her life. I think I did it. Like, come on, brother, listen. You're not ringing this guy up for the crack. You're not ringing up for a chat to discuss the weather, whether he wants to go out for a pint or not. You're ringing him up to admit that you took the life of his daughter, and now you're saying that you can't remember. I think I did it.
But you also, and this is unique in this case, you also spoke on the telephone to Pamela Ray's father. Do you remember that conversation?
Mister, I remember talking to that man.
What do you remember telling him?
I don't remember exactly what I told him. I told him I was responsible. And that was it.
You told him you killed his daughter.
I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's it.
I think I did it.
I think that's it.
All credibility has been lost. All credibility. At this point, yeah, you thought you had control. You thought you were going to tell Piers Morgan what you're after. But again, biology doesn't lie. We're looking for those autonomous reactions. Here what we've got is you said, I think I said that. Like, this is nearly as bad as the Prince Andrew interview. If you're interested in the Prince Andrew one that I've done nearly 400,000 views, I'll put the link in the description below. Like Prince Andrew saying, I think I went to Pizza Hut. What's also here, he's still trying to charm Piers. Piers like sits back and says, you know what, I don't understand, Mark. She's about to tell him what he doesn't understand. And you'll see Mark lean in. And what this is the tortoise effect. The shoulders come down. He's trying to make himself subservient. He's trying to charm Piers to say, you know, I'm still listening to you. I'm still in tune with you. You know, please like me. I'm a very likable person. But when you know what you're looking for, you can sit back, he sort of leans in, and again, it's that shrinkage that he's trying to do. He's trying to charm. This is definitely the behaviours of some type of narcissistic individual. Right until the end, he's trying to charm Piers Morgan.
The truth.
Here's what I don't understand, Mark. Here's what I don't understand, Mark. Here's what I don't understand, Mark.
And Piers says, why would a special agent try and create his career on you? It's like, you're just another criminal. And as Piers goes to say it, he doesn't even let Piers finish the sentence. He sort of exasperates and turns away to say, this just isn't working.
Because he wanted to make his career off of me.
So an investigating agent gives you all this.
Body language is giving it all away. Mark Riebe is losing control and he cannot handle it. And then he's given this thing a label, a name, to try to, create some type of empathy with him. He's talking about, well, I confessed to murdering 13 individuals, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. I'll keep going. Not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, not 9, not 10, not 11, not 12. 13 individuals to protect his son, who some other expert on the episode says that he doesn't even have a good relationship with his son. But he says, I had to make a deal with the devil.
I call it the deal with the devil.
Now, from where I'm sitting, there's only one devil that I'm looking at. And then at the very end, obviously Piers has got his content, he's happy with what he's got. Now he doesn't have to bother about Mark's feelings, he just goes in for the kill. I don't believe you, I think you are a serial killer. At this point here, the amygdala starts to kick in. That thalamus is taking information into the amygdala. Piers asking the question, actually telling him, I think you're a serial killer. Starts talking to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland starts talking to the adrenal glands. The adrenaline starts flowing through the body. He gets up, he starts ripping off the microphone. No, that's it. Piers Morgan has taken the control away from a high control individual. This high control individual can't do anything here. He can't have his knife, he can't strangle him, he can't do anything. As Piers says, he's not a 110-pound woman. Mark Riebe cannot handle it, therefore he's got to escape that situation. And this is the behaviour that you see here.
I don't believe you.
I don't care.
I think you are a serial killer.
You're wrong.
I think you did kill these women.
No, sir.
I think these families of these women,
This is over.
They need
That's it.
justice.
Captain, we're done.
So with the high control individual, with the delay tactics, with that glob of sensation, with the adrenaline pumping through his body when he can't actually control what's going on in that situation, do I think Mark Riebe's denial is true and that he didn't kill 13 women? Well, on the basis of the body language analysis, I would say it's highly unlikely that he did not kill them women. It's highly unlikely that he hasn't had something to do with that. It's highly unlikely that he hasn't killed more than he's admitted to. It's all about this godlike control. And when you get a small man, and again, Napoleon syndrome, there is definitely some truth in that, and the research backs that up. With that godlike syndrome that wants to prove his worth, that wants to prove his dominance, etc., etc. All the traits are observable within this episode of Mark Riebe being a very, very dangerous and high control individual. But I would like to sit in as an observer and ask some more specific questions just to dig that little bit deeper. So remember, if you have enjoyed this, please subscribe below. If we can get my channel towards the 200,000 and beyond, that would be fantastic. 5,000 likes and I will do another video maybe from this series if that's what my audience wants. Remember, if you've got any ideas, you can join me at Instagram as well, Believe in Bruce 360. It's got to be relevant, got to be topical, people's got to be searching for it, as it's got to be in the public interest. But more important than any of that, believe in Bruce. Remember to be kind to yourselves and each other.